If you die, the entire Fifth Mainland will be in trouble. Let's see who won't protect you." Lu Yin put down his hand with a heavy heart. He had already expected this day to come when he had escaped from the cosmic trees to the Fifth Mainland, so he had not dared to slack off for even a moment. He had continuously expanded the Great Eastern Alliance's strength and even declared war on the Astral Beast domain. Currently, the Great Eastern Alliance was strong enough, but the threat of the cosmic trees was still as heavy as a mountain. The cosmic trees' potential for war was too great. Even with the back-end battlefield holding them back, they could still gather 4 half-progenitors and send them to the Fifth Mainland. Compared to the cosmic trees, this place was truly a wasteland. He had half a year left, and he did not know how to form a community of benefits, especially since Elder Chan and the other half-progenitors knew his identity. They would be able to tell what he was doing, and none of them were stupid. Lu Yin was not naive enough to believe that the Fifth Mainland would definitely protect him. He would rather believe in the Neo-Human Alliance's schemes and the Spectre clan's hopes for him. Sometimes people did not want to fall, but rather they had no choice. If he was truly forced into a dead end, and the cosmic trees chased after him, the Fifth Mainland would give up, and the Great Eastern Alliance would collapse. Then what would he do? He wanted revenge, he wanted to bring the Lu family back, he wanted to destroy the Eternals, and he wanted to protect the people he cared about. There were too many things that he wanted to do, and he could not die. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1951. When he looked back at the 7 courts, the Summer Blade Mainland's sharpness was unparalleled. When Progenitor Chen had been invincible, he had beaten the 6th Mainland into silence. Wanxiang Mountain was full of wisdom and vitality, and Progenitor Hui had been calculating for years. He was an enemy that had not been spared even after billions of years had passed. The Spirit Void continent had been struck by lightning, and Progenitor Ku had been unknown, but he had killed his way into the Eternals alone and never returned. Who would remember him? He needed praise, and he only wanted a clear conscience. He only wanted to fight to the death. Even a progenitor could die in battle, let alone Lu Yin. Enemies, clansmen, give up, struggle. Lu Yin thought of too many things in an instant. In the end, he let out a long howl that reverberated through the heavens. He was a direct descendant of the Lu family, and he was a human. He had silently embarked on the path of cultivation from Earth and had become the leader of the Great Eastern Alliance. His life was not something that could be taken by anyone. He would not place his life in the hands of others, nor would he count on others to be kind. Only by taking the initiative would he have a chance at survival. The Xia family had been wary of the 7 courts, and the Hui family had expressed goodwill. The Ku family, Su family, and even the Yuan Shi families had placed their hopes on him. If the 7 courts were treated like the Fifth Mainland, then he might be able to join forces against the astral trees. But what if he expanded the scope? Lu Yin remained in place for 2 full days. During these 2 days, no one disturbed him and he did not contact anyone. He simply stood there and looked at the 7 courts. 2 days later, Lu Yin regained his senses and let out a long breath. He opened his gadget. Wang Wen, let's play a game of the entire universe. In the distance, a spacecraft was heading towards Lu Yin. It was from the Xia family. A youth had his hands clasped behind his back as he looked into space. He watched as the 7 courts grew smaller and smaller, and he raised a hand as if he wanted to grab the entire place. "Young master, you shouldn't have done that," an aged voice sounded from behind him. It was an elder with a serious expression and a slightly hunched back. The youth lowered his hand and smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry, Uncle Jiang. I forgot myself for a moment, but I won't do it again." Uncle Jiang solemnly said, "We've only taken the first step. Even though our status is high, we're still just puppets. Young master, you still have a long way to go." The youth nodded. "I know." His name was Xia Sheng, a disciple of the Xia clan. On this day he went to Jie Mountain to replace Nan Yuan as the new director. There would always be a seat reserved for the 7 courts, and this seat would always belong to the Xia family. Even if the Xia family did not have a suitable candidate, they would still recommend someone. Xia Sheng was the candidate recommended by the Xia family. The one who suggested this was Xia Meng. Someone reported, "Young master, there's someone up ahead." Uncle Jiang frowned. "Avoid? Do we need to report something like this?" That person wiped the sweat off his forehead and respectfully said, "That person seems to be Lu Yin." Uncle Jiang's expression changed. "The Great Eastern Alliance's alliance master, Director Lu Yin?" That person nodded. Xia Sheng's expression was solemn as he recalled everything that had happened to Lu Yin. Everything that Lu Yin had done had left him in the dust, and everything that Lu Yin had done was something that he yearned to achieve. Uncle Jiang looked at Xia Sheng. "Young master, your chance has come." Xia Sheng was puzzled. Actually, after the technology was solved, the entire Aurora Corporation searched for this material. My daily job is to experiment with various materials, but I still haven't found anything suitable. Try this. Lu Yin took out a piece of tree bark and tossed it to Wan Gong. It was the bark of the mother tree. Wan Gong's eyes lit up. "This material? Feels." He touched the sky-splitting array and looked at Lu Yin in pleasant surprise. "It's very similar." "Try it," Lu Yin said. Wan Gong hurriedly ran off to test it. As long as he didn't leave, Wan Gong was the leader of the microarray department, and no one could interfere with him. With the second Night King's help, even a powerhouse with a power level of 1,000,000 wouldn't be able to detect Lu Yin's movements. Half a day later, Wan Gong carefully picked up a microarray that used tree bark as the core material. "Alliance leader, what battle technique are you trying to compress?" Lu Yin asked. "What kind of battle technique can it contain?" Since it's just research, the GUN Array Master is very powerful. The sourcebox array he set up is only strong enough to contain an explorer's power. The GUN Array Master should be the powerhouse with a power level of 1,000,000 hidden within the Aurora Fort. Lu Yin didn't care about someone with a power level of 1,000,000 since the second Night King could easily suppress them. However, the GUN Array Master's identity was different. It would be difficult for others to find out what this person had set up in the Aurora Fort. Lu Yin had almost forgotten that the GUN Array Master was still here. Lu Yin raised a hand and casually waved his hand. The first sword of the 13 swords swept past the microarray and disappeared. Wan Gong took a deep breath and released the sword in front of him. A ray of sword chi swept through the void. "We did it, we did it." Wan Gong was so excited that he forgot himself. "We finally did it." He looked at Lu Yin excitedly. "Alliance leader, we did it. We did it." Lu Yin's lips curled up, and his eyes lit up like never before. Had they finally succeeded? He could imagine tens of thousands of soldiers wearing the new universal armor and protected by white smoke as they released attacks from the microarray. Who could imagine tens of thousands of Enlighter attacks sealed within microarrays? Not even the Astral Tree Society dared to imagine such a thing. They had many experts, but they couldn't gather tens of thousands of Enlighters at once. What a spectacular scene it would be. Tens of thousands? 100,000? Or even 1,000,000? It wasn't impossible for humans to resist the Eternals, but what was humanity's greatest advantage? Intelligence. Only with intelligence could there be creation. Microarray technology, new universal armor, white smoke, and other things could be added, such as poison. The more Lu Yin thought about it, the more excited he became. It was as if he had created a new era. If attacks could be contained within microarrays, then what about other things? Previously, he had the Aeon Evolution True Scripture, which could create something out of nothing. Now, with microarray technology, he could bring about a revolution for the entire human race. Lu Yin pressed down on the excited Wan Gong and stared at him. "You've created a new era." Wan Gong's eyes widened and narrowed. "A new era?" Lu Yin's lips curled up. "Work hard. Humanity's future is beautiful, and this universe will eventually belong to us humans. With our intelligence, we can create anything and defeat all powerful enemies." Wan Gong nodded, but then he suddenly remembered something and half knelt. "Thank you, Alliance Leader. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to create a new era." Lu Yin helped Wan Gong up, as it was time for him to lay his cards on the table with Chairman Xi. Microarray technology didn't just belong to the Aurora Corporation. It belonged to the entire human race. The Northgate family, Lily family, and Barth Jacques family were currently having a secret meeting. Every time the Northgate platform competition is held, we always invite important figures to attend. Northgate family chief, who are you planning to invite this time? Barth Jacques family's patriarch, Hoba, asked. Behind him stood Harrow. His other successor, Barnicho, had died during the Sixth Mainland's invasion. As for the Scarlet mercenary group that was employed by the Barth Jacques family, half of them had died. The head of the Lily family, Lily Liana, also looked at Northgate Kong curiously. Lily Yin and Lily Shuer were standing behind her. Northgate Kong solemnly replied, Ku Wei of the Great Eastern Alliance. Lily Liana and Hobo were shocked. Even Northgate Lai, who was standing behind Northgate Kong, was shocked. Ku Wei? That bootlicker? Lily Liana was flabbergasted. Northgate Kong nodded. Don't underestimate him. Although he's a bootlicker, he's from the Seven Courts Ku family. He's very powerful at such a young age, and I don't know why he's able to command the Giant Legion. He's also Lu Yin's disciple, so it's appropriate to invite him to attend the competition. Hoba replied, I know this person. He's arrogant, but he has the ability to be arrogant. During the Sovereign Tournament, even if he wasn't as strong as the 10 Arbiters, he was still quite strong. He fought to the first level and lost to Wang Yi. Although he's a bootlicker, that's only towards Lu Yin. He's arrogant to everyone else and doesn't hold back at all. Northgate family chief, how did you manage to invite him? Northgate Kong replied, he likes to be in the limelight. As the most dazzling guest of the Northgate platform competition, it wasn't difficult to invite him. Most importantly, during the previous Northgate platform competition, Lu Yin was the one who represented the 10 Arbiters Council. Since his master was there, he naturally wanted to go as well. It would be great if we could invite Lu Yin to attend the competition, Lily Liana sighed. Hoba laughed. Lu Yin? What kind of status was that? How could he possibly come to a tiny Northline flow zone to attend the competition? Forget about the Northgate platform competition, he might not even be interested in the internal struggles of the 8 great flow zones. Where's Ah Fan? Northgate Kong suddenly asked. Lily Liana replied, he's taking the students from Shangwu Academy to train. Ah Fan was originally just a normal student from Shangwu Academy and wasn't worth their attention. However, Ah Fan had managed to get close to Lu Yin and had a special status in the Northline flow zone. Let him host the Northgate platform competition this time, Northgate Kong said. The other 2 families did not object. After the meeting ended, Lily and met with Lily Liana alone. Mother, you were looking for me? Lily Liana looked at Lily and apologetically. Do you still remember the gift I promised you? Lillian was confused and thought for a moment. Fateson. Lily Liana nodded and took out a box from her cosmic ring. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1960. The appearance of the 5th pagoda had completely changed Lu Yin's reputation. No matter what others had thought of him before, countless people now praised him, worshipped him and prayed for him. This was just the beginning and the 5th pagoda had yet to be built. Once it was completed and people learned the battle technique inheritance, their worship of Lu Yin would reach a whole new level. At that time it would be just as Wang Wen had said. Countless people would build statues of him, and countless people would be grateful to him. He would truly be the savior of the world. Of course, this only applied to independent cultivators and ordinary cultivators. The various large sects had different thoughts. They could dominate their own regions because of their strength, but once these ordinary cultivators increased their power level through the 5th pagoda, it would be difficult for them to suppress them like they had in the past. Fortunately, everyone could enter the 5th pagoda, including the disciples of the various sections. Compared to the ordinary cultivators, it was easier for them to receive the inheritance. It was not easy to receive the inheritance in the 5th pagoda, as every level had its own test. Based on the scale of the 5th pagoda, each level was extremely large and many people could take the test at the same time. It was still difficult for ordinary cultivators to compete with the disciples of the various sects, but there was still hope. The sect with the worst expression right now was the Serious sect and the Sword sect, whose own inheritance had been placed in the 5th pagoda. Yuan Xiong was the first to contact Lu Yin. Lu Yin did not accept the call, but instead contacted Elder Chan and had him speak with the Serious sect. The Su family contacted Lu Yin right after, as there were insights on the plan, secret on the 8th level of the 5th pagoda. Alliance Master Lu, my family doesn't care if you educate the masses, but you actually placed the plan, secret on the 5th pagoda. Doesn't that mean that everyone can learn it? What is the meaning of this, Alliance Master Lu? Su Elder Yen asked angrily, as anyone would be enraged in such a situation. Lu Yin replied, calm down Master Su. Please take a good look. That's the insights of the plan secret on reversal, not the plan secret. Su Elder Yen was stunned. Beside him, Sujio took a look and nodded. The plan secret on reversal? Su Elder Yen was puzzled. Lu Yin smiled. There is no immovable chessboard. Who can learn the plan secret? Can I teach it to others? Oh, please teach me Master Su. Elder Yen felt awkward. He coughed dryly and said, Alliance Master Lu, why did you place the comprehension of the plan secret on the 8th floor of the 5th pagoda? Lu Yin continued, if you don't understand the Su esoteric secret, then obtaining the insights from repentance is meaningless. This is a gift for your Su family's descendants. As long as they can reach the 8th level, they will be able to obtain the insights. Are you satisfied with this, family head? So Lao Yin was pleasantly surprised and satisfied. Of course they were satisfied. Previously, Lu Yin had been observing the motionless chessboard and had reached the realm of regretting move. They had no idea how they could obtain that insight from Lu Yin, and now that insight had been placed on the 8th floor of the 5th tower. Even though they knew that it wouldn't be easy to obtain, it was still better than being left hanging by a thread by Lu Yin. So that's how it is. Thank you, Alliance Leader Lu, Elder Yen said. Since Alliance Leader Lu is so magnanimous to announce your inheritance, the Su clan is impressed. We're willing to contribute many battle skills to the 5th pagoda for everyone to learn. Lu Yin's eyes lit up. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1963. Yi King could hear Lu Yin's dissatisfaction and smiled. Alliance Leader Lu, just watch quietly. This flower is something I've never seen in my entire life. No, it's a strange plant that hasn't even appeared in the ancient records. Its most unique trait is that it can form all sorts of food, but I don't know how. Just like how we humans have innate gifts, this flower can't explain its ability to form food, such as barbecued meat or exquisite dishes. Lu Yin was shocked. There was such a thing? I've also checked the food and it's made from real ingredients. It's like someone else's food being moved here, Yi King said. Lu Yin raised his brows. Then how long do I have to wait? I'm not sure. Alliance Leader Lu is here to study immortality. I can tell you that I have no clue about immortality, but I do know a little about space and it's related to this flower, Yi King said confidently. Lu Yin looked at Yi King. You studied space through this flower? Yi King nodded. How should I put it? After studying it for so long, I realized that space might not even exist. It's just a facade that we humans understand. Just like this flower, I don't believe that it can create something out of nothing. It definitely uses space to bring food made by someone else, and space is meaningless to it. Lu Yin thought of wireless goo. Space was meaningless to wireless goo as well. I brought Alliance Leader Lu here not only to see the wonders of this flower, but also to study space with you. From what I know, Alliance Leader Lu also has something that can ignore space. It's a type of goo. Yi King stared at Lu Yin. Lu Yin's eyes flashed. Wireless goo. Back then, Balsam represented Shamrock Enterprises to present a congratulatory gift to young Emperor Qin. At that time, Alliance Leader Lu was already interested in wireless goo. There's no harm in telling Alliance Leader Lu that Balsam also investigated Xiao Cheng's wireless goo and was interested as well. However, Alliance Leader Lu beat her to it. If Alliance Leader Lu thinks that Shamrock Enterprises is qualified, we can study it together, Yi King suggested. Lu Yin thought about it. We can study it together, but it'll consume a lot of resources. Yi King smiled. Shamrock Enterprises will take full responsibility for this. How about we give you 1 billion crystal essences first? Lu Yin smiled brilliantly. All right. Yi King smiled and sat down. Let's wait and see. Alliance Leader Lu might be able to see something. Lu Yin had come here to purge Shamrock Enterprises, not to discuss the space with them. However, he didn't mind spending so much time with them. The Leaf King had probably guessed Lu Yin's intentions, which was why he had immediately accused Lu Yin of representing the Hall of Honor. Now, the Leaf King was trying to tempt Lu Yin with research and funding. If the Leaf King wasn't trying to stall for time, then the Leaf King was trying to find a way to deal with Lu Yin. Lu Yin was also curious as to how the Leaf King was able to fight against the second Night King. At best, the Leaf King was about the same level as Flying Willow, which was a far cry from the second Night King. A day passed by quickly. The piece of meat on the flower had long been thrown away by the Leaf King. He did not eat meat. He waited for another 2 days before the petals suddenly moved. Then, under his astonished gaze, a dish appeared. It was an exquisite dish, and although he couldn't tell what the ingredients were, the fragrance was undeniable. Lu Yin had been staring at the flowers, but he couldn't see how the vegetables had appeared. He suddenly felt that this scene was very familiar. This flower had appeared out of nowhere. At that moment, Yi Wang laughed loudly from the side and Lu Yin's mind clenched. It was the same flower, but it was the same laughter. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1964. As soon as Lu Yin uttered the words, Astral Origin Pill, King Yi reached out and grabbed at Lu Yin. He was extremely decisive. The moment Lu Yin mentioned the Astral Origin Pill, Leaf King no longer hesitated. Lu Yin had already laid all his cards on the table. The second Night King appeared in front of Lu Yin and snorted. He casually pointed out with his Night King immortal finger, bringing with it an extreme chill that froze the entire Shamrock Enterprises world. This finger was not something that Leaf King could withstand, and the nearby fish tea was immediately frozen and fell to the ground. With a crack, Leaf King's forehead was struck by the finger, and his head cracked open. Strangely, there was no blood, and his body split in two, turning into a split tree that wrapped around the second Night King. The second Night King disdainfully flicked his finger, causing his astral source to sweep out and tear through the void, causing countless cracks to appear in the outside world. Outside, the 3 emerald leaves cracked, unable to withstand the second Night King's explosive power. Lu Yin continuously retreated, as Shamrock Enterprises definitely did not have the power to face the second Night King head-on. He looked in the direction where the flower had been. He had to take it away. Although it was impossible to create a spatial dimension by studying a flower, that flower could still evoke his memories. Unexpectedly, the second Night King's astral source did not push away the tree that Leaf King had turned into. The entire world suddenly changed, and all the plants quickly shrank as trees appeared on the ground and shot up into the sky, surrounding the second Night King. The trees continued to combine and gradually wrapped around the second Night King. Lu Yin's expression changed. This kind of tree? With a boom, all the plants in Shamrock Enterprises' world disappeared, leaving only the incomparably large tree in the sky that sealed the second Night King. A deafening sound came from within, accompanied by the second Night King's angry roars. He could not break through. Lu Yin was in disbelief. What kind of tree could trap the second Night King? Was this Leaf King's trump card? Behind him, the void distorted, and Leaf King walked out with a pale face. He stared at Lu Yin, his originally handsome face now filled with malevolence. Lu Yin turned around and met Leaf King's gaze. "What are you?" Leaf King grinned. "Brat, you're too arrogant. I didn't want to fall out with you, but do you really think that you can do whatever you want with the second Night King's protection? Didn't you want to know what my creation was? This is creation. Can you see it clearly?" Lu Yin's eyes flashed. "This isn't your power." "Ha ha, there's no need for my strength. The second Night King is trapped and I can kill you before he escapes. Although I don't know what method you use to control the second Night King, if you die he'll be freed. Not only will he not attack me but he'll even thank me," the Leaf King said sternly as he stepped forward and punched Lu Yin. Lu Yin struck out with a palm, the clear void palm. Bunga loud explosion shook the sky, and the two of them retreated at the same time. King Yi was shocked. "Your power?" Compared to Yi King, Lu Yin was even more astonished. Not only did Yi King possess the strength to directly resist the emptiness palm, but he was also able to ignore spiritual force and domain. How could this be? Ever since he had become an emissary, even though he had to keep the 3 astral cyclones and seal the 3 stages, reducing the boost to his strength, he was still strong enough to challenge elites with a combat power of more than 800,000. After that, with the help of Elder Jioshin's 1000 stacks combat techniques, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds.